Welcome, motherfuckers, to the Mad Signal Podcast.
Let's test those levels and shit. If I'm gonna bring the podcast back, I gotta make sure it sounds good. I mean, I've been doing the Death by Cheeseburger thing, and I find that sometimes I give a little bit of myself to make the whole thing work. I don't always give my full personality to that show. Mainly because I feel like, I don't know, I kind of like to highlight some of Ben's sensibilities on Death by Cheeseburger. It really is my show that, like, I invited him on, and if we're being honest, then at first I was almost just going to replace the name of the Matt Signal with Death by Cheeseburger and continue doing what I've been doing the whole time. But I invited Ben over, and we had a pretty good chemistry, and then I realized we had kind of an entertaining podcast, and so we went ahead and kept going with that. Now that's mine and Ben's show, but it's originally my concept, my IP, what have you. Not that it's worth anything. We have gotten a surprising amount of listeners. Actually, a bulk of what we've gotten has been through the video, which is surprising to me because it's not really a quality video that we're doing. It's really a shitty webcam in a shittily lit room with an air conditioner blowing in the background and a dynamic mic that picks up 360 degrees. So there's noise pollution everywhere. And I think you might be able to hear the slight hum of my fan in the background, but you should consider yourself lucky. I actually turn the air conditioner off. I don't do that. Not when I'm home, anyway. I mean, when I'm not here, I turn the motherfucker off because, I mean, the light bill's bad enough with two window unit air conditioners and one portable one in the living room. This place is a fucking sweatbox, and it's like what my nightmares are made of, because the reason I bought the place and where I'm at now don't gel. Now, I'm not going to say I've given up hope, and some of you who know me and will listen to this will think that's the most foolish shit you've heard all day. I don't blame you. But matters of the heart kind of have to get dealt with on an individual basis. And I know that I'm a very loyal person, and to a fault, and I'm a lot of I'm a lot of things that are like good qualities that go too far sometimes. And, it has a negative impact on me, and I'm not going to lie. I've been part of the reason I didn't keep going with the Matt Signal was just to keep Death by Cheeseburger going. The little bit I have, I mean, and I've missed weeks. Like, don't get me wrong. I have not made every episode of Death by Cheeseburger happen on time. And sometimes we'll do the episode, and then I'm just lazy about converting it because there's a process. And now I'm not going to make you snore too much, but basically, once I'm done recording the podcast, I can bounce it out to an MP3. That takes about 10 minutes. It's no big deal. Now, when I go from there, I have to put it into iMovie, and then I convert it into a video file. That motherfucker takes about 4 hours. So sometimes you get lucky, it goes a little faster, but then once you get it converted, you got to upload it to YouTube. That's another like 20 minutes or something. So it's really like a 5-hour process after we record the pod that I have to get it online. And so with the shape of my heart, oh man, that's some corny shit that just came out of my face. With the forgive me, I'm just coming out of some bronchitis. And actually, yeah, so I've been a little fucked up lately, let's put it that way. And I've been working on losing some weight. I've lost about 30 pounds, and I keep joking around, but it's not really a joke that I keep kind of losing and putting on the same 5 pounds. It's like I have good self-control for about 5 days in a row, and then I'm just like, give me all the carbs for like 2 days. And you can undo 5 days of progress in 2 days very easily. Like, if I really wanted to go ham on it, no pun intended, I could undo 5 days of work in 1 day. And, I mean, it's like anything else. You could put all the positive effort in the world into something, and one fault in the foundation will bring the whole building toppling down on itself. So, if you're out there and you're listening to me, just, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I did a bunch of shit wrong, because I didn't. But what I do have a tendency to do is I take things for granted. And I have learned over the last couple months that you would be fucking surprised the kind of things you take for granted when you don't have them anymore. And I mean, I'm talking little to big. It's everything. And when every little thing that happens triggers some like small memory or like something that feels good, but it's not there anymore, so then it hurts. I mean, the least you get out of it is some perspective. So I guess for that, for whatever happens going forward, I've gained a little bit of perspective, and I've learned that to take things for granted is one of the most foolish things you can do, because you never know when those things aren't going to be there anymore. I have spent, and I'm man enough to admit it, I've spent a ridiculous amount of time with tears pouring out of my face, and I'm not thrilled by that. It's not that I'm not proud of it. Like, I don't give a fuck what you think. It's more that, like, it's uncomfortable, And, after the end of a good cry, you usually feel a little better. But, when they keep coming and they keep coming, it's just like, motherfuck, man. Like, at a certain point, you just want to be level and not care anymore. But I'm not good at that. And I'm trying to take some steps to maybe learn to get better at that. But it takes time. It takes a lot of work. And I thought I had made more progress than I really had on some of these things, I think. So kids, not to be too serious, don't take things for granted while you have them. If you truly care about something, or someone, or a situation, a family, whatever it is that you have, that you love, don't fucking take it for granted. I think that if you can get through it all and you can say you did the right thing, which I do have that part, which is good to have, don't get me wrong, because, it's hard to, it's hard to really voice any complaints if you didn't do the right thing. And now I know some people I don't want to say I know them so much on a personal level as I know who and what they are, who really do the wrong thing, but they just don't know, and they continue, but at the same time they try to take this high ground, and boy does that shit piss me off. It's like, look, and there's a lot of people who I think over the years have said maybe it's a little intimidating, because I will bend the fuck over backwards if I care about somebody. And this isn't just a romantic thing. Like, if I'm truly invested in somebody or something, I will pour myself into that. But sometimes I go over and above what other people feel that they're able to do. And then that creates like a weird shift in the balance of things. Like, all right, here's the thing. I don't expect from anyone to be willing to go to the same lengths that I would for a lot of things. I don't expect that of them. But there's a thing, and I feel it too sometimes when either someone or something has gone over and above what I felt like I was willing to or able to, and I feel like I'm inadequate almost. And I've felt that before, and I sort of get it, but at the same time, I think you got to temper that with the expectations of the people you're dealing with. And not everyone's like me. That's fine. But there are a lot of people like me. If I exist, there's a lot of people like me. That's just a fact of there being over 7 billion people in the world. That's just simple logic. So you've got to remember, like, you've got to take the time to get to know who you're dealing with too. Like, so I might sometimes do more for a person knowingly, like knowing that they won't go as far as I would for them, but I don't expect them to feel inadequate by that. Like, it's just the difference of who you are and who I am. And so, like, when those sorts of weird things come up, I don't understand so much, because it's like I never expected you to be exactly like me. Because while there are, I'm sure, many people out there like me, to expect that of everyone else would be fucking ludicrous for me. Like, I can't just expect everyone to be willing to go over and above all the time, you know, just to show that they care. Like, because some people will, like, I don't know, to boil this down to social media, like, some people will like every post you put on Facebook, and other people will read every post you put on Facebook, and then they might talk to you about a week later about it when you see them. Like, that's just there's different types of people in the world. And so I guess what I need to do, or what I need to get better at, that I've learned, is that I need to make more clear, I need to try to set personal boundaries, like what I won't do. Like, I need to learn maybe when enough's enough, and not to overburden someone with, like, feeling inadequate, if that makes sense, or feeling, how do I put it? Like, I need to work on how much of myself I'm willing to give, in that I don't want to give so much that it leaves the other people in whatever scenario feeling that they can't measure up, because I don't measure. Like, that's the thing, is like, I know everyone, like, you know what you do for someone, okay? So you don't have to actually keep a tally sheet. You just know. Like, when you've done a million things for somebody, you know what they are. And when you get to a point where you feel like, hey, I was really fucking cool to you, and then you stab me in the back, sometimes it can get hard not to bust out the list. And I don't always blame people. Like, I do it. I'm not gonna lie, I do it. I bust out the list. But guess what's not on that list ever? There's nothing of monetary value is ever on the list, because I don't keep track of stuff, and I don't keep track of money. If I give you a gift, or if I help you pay for something, or if I, you know, if it's monetary, or it's just stuff, I don't give a fuck. I don't want you to ever think that that's some, like, thing that you can't make up for. I'm just giving you something material because I like you and it suits you, or you need help, or whatever. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to hold money against anybody. Unless we have an arrangement where I loan you money and I expect you to pay me back, or you wreck my shit, that's a different thing entirely. But, like, for me to just give a gift or assistance is not a thing. Like, I don't measure that. I don't care about that. What I've always been hung up on is time, effort, love, care. You know, those things hold a lot of value with me. Now, again, this is where I have to be more conscious of what other people think as well. Like, because some people may put more value in stuff or money, or maybe they just can't contribute the same amount of time, effort, energy, whatever. effort and energy are kind of the same thing, but maybe not entirely. So it's an important thing we got to realize is that there's got to be some kind of balance, and I've had to learn that the hard way, and I'm still not very good at regulating it. So that's sort of the thing in my head that I've been working on, or I guess when you boil everything down to a point, that's sort of where I'm at. I'm shamelessly trying to get my shit back. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not even fucking. It's not pretty. I have no pride in this matter. Like, let's just be totally honest. I don't care because it's what my heart wants. It's what I love. And I will be damned if I'm going to give up until I'm made to. In other news, aside from the fact that this podcast is back and I've been dealing with some shit, I didn't have my voice for a while. It's doing pretty good now, and this is not all the way there, but I'm getting there. I set a goal this year that I wanted to do like an 8-song EP. And I've written a few songs, and then I realized that I'm not that great of a guitar player. Now, I talked about this on DBC, so if you listen to both, I'm probably going to repeat myself. That's going to happen, but on one, it'll be all me, and I can sort of go off on whatever tangent I'm thinking of. So I have been experimenting a little bit with like my recording equipment and trying to figure out like what's the best way to record guitar, and then I realized I'm kind of a sloppy guitar player because I don't practice. I learned enough guitar to play, like to write a song years ago. And then occasionally, and I mean, we're talking rarely, I'll sit down, I'll play for a couple months, I'll learn a handful of songs, I'll get good at one more thing, or I'll learn how to do maybe something a little different with song structure or like a chord progression. But that's about it. Like, I'm never going to be fucking playing a Metallica solo. Let's just put it that way. Or anything better than that. Like, maybe a few rhythm riffs, and that's about it. So that's actually more difficult than I had anticipated. And it's funny because it's not like it's the first time I've ever recorded a song. But most of the times when I sat down to do it, I was actually a little better practiced. So I have 3 songs currently written. Well, I have like guitar songs. I actually have 5 songs written, but 2 of them are very much like love songs. One of them is very Chris Stapleton-esque, and it's very much like a, that lonely like fucking breakup song. And then another one is just sort of a kind of a hybrid, a perfect circle Breaking Benjamin sort of thing. And it's just sort of like similar to some of the stuff I grew up with, that new metal era that like I love. That's sort of my nostalgia thing, is the early Breaking Benjamin and the era of Stained and Korn and forgive me for saying this, but Limp Bizkit, I'm not a big fan, but they were there. And Chevelle, who's still going great. They're a great band. A lot of those bands are still together, but like this was the early days. This was when it was very much like my dad didn't love me kind of stuff. And, like, I mean, that's all still out there, but that angsty 2000s rock kind of vibe to it. So then I have 2 other songs, and one I've actually put out online before. It's called I Can't Wait, and it's literally a song about like locking the windows in the car and like letting the nastiest fart, which I think most of us have probably encountered if we had some kind of dad guy around at some point. Or I'm sure I learned it somewhere. Someone did it to me. So, like, I wrote a song about that, and then I got another song that's called, like, Arkansas Love Song. which is the tale of a man who met his deep fried bride. He first met her at the county fair. He ran into her again at the Dollar General, and they ended up married. And it's actually kind of a cute song, like, because it's really not that insulting. It's silly. But they don't really fit together. I don't know if I'm going to worry about whether they fit together or not. I would like to have a flow, but it's an EP. It's not like an album. It's not a concept. It's just like, I want to do this because I can. And then if I'm going to use that logic, I actually can go all the way back. And I have another song called, oh shit, I don't even know what it's called now. Place to End My Days, I believe. And I wrote that one forever ago. I was like 19. I can place that so specifically because of where I lived at the time, and I remember like playing it when we had people over, and like everyone liked it at first, and then my buddies liked it because my buddies were like, they play also, and so they were stoked. But then some of our friends were like, hey, you know, that song's kind of fucking depressing, and I was like, yeah, you're probably right, but you pissed in my cat's litter box, so go fuck yourself. I'm just kidding, Jolene. You don't have to go fuck yourself. You're all right. I haven't talked to you in years, and I don't have you on Facebook, and there's probably almost no way you're ever gonna hear this, but whatever. You're fine. I don't care. You don't have to go fuck yourself if you don't. I mean, you can if you want. If you feel like going and fucking yourself, then by all means, don't let me stop you. I won't stand in the way of a good self-fucking. So, I'm a little ways into that. It's only, we're not halfway through the year yet, and I'm almost halfway through the EP, so I guess I'm doing all right. I just gotta figure out how to record it. I got a friend, the Right Reverend DK Buchanan, who said he'd play guitar for me, but I don't think he's gonna want to waste. I don't know. I have to talk to him about it, see how he feels. Maybe I can just show him it's real simple stuff and then see what he thinks about it. But yeah, I'm not the best player. I'm not even the best singer. Like, but I write a decent song. I'm okay with the words, especially when I sit down and write them. So before I went on hiatus with the Matt Signal, I had said that one of my goals were to do my first stand-up routine before my birthday. I managed to pull that one off. However, I haven't done one since because, as I've stated now 2 or 3 times, I haven't had a voice for a while. And I've only just recently gotten it back, so when I first went on stage, I forgot that my voice was all screwed up. And so I stepped to the microphone, and then like my voice didn't work, and I got an audible, like I heard a response in the crowd, like, oh boy. And so I tried to cover it by saying that, like, I think I said, I'm sorry, I was going to tell you that my voice is messed up, I got bronchitis, and then I haven't stopped smoking menthols or sucking dick since. And that got a laugh, but then the first thing I talked about was like race, and I didn't set it up right, I didn't handle it right. So nobody bought it from me, and I think I actually came off accidentally racist. Which, I'm not, but I am racially curious. I'm not gonna lie. I grew up in northern Wisconsin. There was one black dude in town. And then there was another guy in the next town over, but I never really hung out with him. See, that's how little integration, or not integration. That's how little, like, oh, what's the word? I know what the word is, but it's just not coming to me. But we weren't very multicultural. We were very white, which is whatever. There's a lot of places like that. But there wasn't a whole lot of hate around. I'm sure it's there, but like, I don't remember, anybody ever like hating on black people because they're not around. But I'm pretty sure the one black dude in town had a car that said "Black Man" on the front of it. So, that's like it was a very white existence up there. So when I moved back down here to Indiana, which is still very Midwestern, very white, but there's definitely, like, in the town I live in, Bloomington, there's it's multicultural. We've got a lot of different people here. It's a college town. People move here to work, whatever, so when I first got here, it was almost like culture shock. And I was like, oh my God, I have so many questions, because whether or not people want to admit it, there's a lot of differences in our races. Like, the things that we do, some of our habits and things like that are different. And I'm curious about that kind of thing. Like, it doesn't offend me. I don't hate it. I don't hate anyone for it. And I think that, like, some things are silly. It's like we stereotype black people by saying they like chicken and watermelon and shit. Fuck you, dude. White people love that shit. Everybody loves fried chicken and watermelon. Who the fuck doesn't? Like, why are we going to act like black people are the only people that like it? Plus, why are we going to act like that's a bad thing? Did anybody ever stop to think about that? Oh, yeah, fried chicken, watermelon, eating ass. Like, what the... Yeah, that's what I am. I guess if that's what I am, then I might as well join Black Lives Matter, if that's what that means. And don't get me wrong, Black lives do matter. I just don't really agree with any movement going on in the world right now. That's a whole other thing, and I'm trying to keep this close to 30 minutes, and we're getting there. So let me try to think of what else I actually wanted to get said. As far as the schedule for the podcast goes, I'm not going to make an official schedule for the podcast yet. I'm very much in a touch and go place in my life. I don't know what to expect anymore, what's going to happen. I have no idea. I know that I've got some health things going on. I've got, stuff I'm working on. I'm trying to lose weight. And I get tired, man. I would like to say I'm going to do it once a week, but I'm not going to make any promises. And I would like to say it's going to be on a specific day every week, but I'm not going to make any promises yet. And if things get going, get rolling, and I start getting some good momentum, and I feel like I could put this thing on a schedule, then I will do that. But for now, this is my outlet. This is really not... I don't expect anything out of this. I don't know that I'm ever going to do like a video cast with it or anything like that, even though I'd probably get a ton more viewers. I just like the idea of an audio podcast. I like the idea of it's simple. I've got a microphone set up. I'm sitting on my bed. Like, this is easy shit, man. I got a cup of tea. I got a pack of smokes, and I'm just talking. And I like the idea of being real and kind of bearing myself a little bit. Obviously, there are things I'm not willing to just put out on the internet. I'm not going to get into specific interpersonal names and stuff like that. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. I can tell a story without giving you names. It's fine. So... as you hear me rustle my cup, I just kind of, I'm feeling a little better. I'm definitely not great, but I'm hanging in there, and I thought maybe I could add a little bit more ventilation to my life, and start getting some things out, just off my mind, just some mind clutter, and I like to goof around. I'll talk about real shit, but like ultimately I'll end up walking into something that makes me laugh, something corny, something stupid, here's something I haven't said yet, and this was what I was going to say first, and I forgot. Fuck the royal wedding. Fuck all weddings right now, to be honest. Like, my cousin's got one coming up. I hate weddings right now, with a bloody passion. And, I'm sure several of you we'll understand why. But I don't understand why we're making such a big deal out of it. This is fucking British royalty. Who gives a shit? Not even the British care about British royalty. And it's not a fairy tale. Like, none of you are ever gonna have, like, it's bullshit. It's taxpayer money. And, like, it means nothing. It doesn't mean shit. Like, nobody, dude, these people don't give a fuck about you. Like, yeah, they look good in photo ops, and I'm sure they do some, like, nice charitable work. Because if you're in that position, you're obligated to, in order to maintain appearance. If you never did anything good, then the media would cover you poorly, and you would reflect badly on your royal family. Your royal family, who has absolutely no authority. Like, their royalty isn't royal. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Like, why? Ugh. It's so gross. It's such a media whoring thing that, like, I'm not a guy who hates everything in pop culture. I'm not. I like a lot of things that are popular, and that's, like, I don't care if, just because something's popular. I'm not a hipster. But some things are just outright gross. And I was saying this stuff back when they had the last royal wedding, and it's funny because I saw one of the girls I worked with at the time, and I have her on Facebook. We got along back then. She kind of hit on me. I was too scared to do anything about it, but she's a cool girl, and she's married and seems happy. I hope she is. But anyway, I saw where she was posting about this one, and it was the last time they had a royal wedding. I had this conversation with her, and she's like, it's just like a fairy tale. Every girl dreams of blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I don't get it. I was like, obviously everyone always says the wedding is for the woman anyway, but, like, fuck the royal wedding. Fuck it. I don't care. I was so sick of hearing about it before it even started. I just think that there's so much shit that actually matters. And we're gonna worry about this. No thanks. So, I guess to bring it home here, I can't think of any more news off the top of my head. But I'm just going to throw out a spoiler alert on Avengers Infinity War. And I'm not going to go way too into this nerd talk here, but, like, I'm excited about this movie. And I haven't had a chance to talk to a lot of people about it yet. So, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it yet, you should, first of all, stop listening to this and go see it. It's really fun, especially if you're invested in the Marvel movies. If you're not, it's going to be like my girlfriend at the time was at Captain America Civil War. You're just going to be like, I have no idea who all these people are, what they're doing, why they're doing it. But it's one of the coolest movies I've ever seen, in that the whole movie, especially as a comic book movie, the whole movie centers around the villain, Thanos. They've been building him up since, the first Avengers movie. So, it's been like 8 years or something like that. 2012. So 6 years. So for 6 years they've been for sure building towards Thanos, and if you really look at a couple of the movies before that, or no, not so much. I think the first stone was like in the Avengers. So, like, from then on, they kind of had set their mind on this Infinity Gauntlet story. And the entire movie takes place basically from the perspective of Thanos. Meaning that whenever any of our heroes interact, or the heroes are segmented into different groups throughout the movie. And the way that we see what the heroes are up to is via their interaction with Thanos. So it's really cool. So, like, Thanos has his, God, I'm horrible at remembering some of the terminology, but his little group of 4 that, they're like the children of Thanos or whatever, like, that he sends out on missions for him. And so you see people interact with them. You see people interact when Thanos is there directly. But there's always something is going on that has to do with Thanos. That is why the heroes that we're looking at are on the screen. And I thought that was one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen. And then, on top of that, spoiler alert, the villain wins. Like, I know it's not the first time that's ever happened, but American storytelling is very like, we like a happy ending at the end of everything. We want it neat, and we want it tidy, and we want it happy. And this is not that. Half of the Avengers or half of the characters in the movie are wiped out. Half the characters in the universe are wiped out. And it leaves you in a place where you know that the next movie is obviously taken off from this point and it's going to solve this problem. But holy shit, was it cool. Like, and then Tom Holland, our new Spider-Man, had like, I think, other than I can't remember her name, but the girl that plays Gamora, who had what I think was like the highlight of the movie. I think Spider-Man had like this 3-second part of the movie that is amazing. Like, it brings a tear to your eye. Like, so yes, I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was cool the way the villain won and the way the whole movie centered around the villain. Like, I didn't even recognize the normal 3-act structure until I looked at it from the perspective of the villain. So, like, if you haven't watched it, that's actually, I mean, I told you what happens in the end. The villain wins, but, dude, it's a cool movie. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. And I'm meaning to go see Deadpool here soon. So I don't know what's up with that one. I'll probably get a late review on that. But I'm hopefully going to see that pretty soon as well. Is there anything else before I get out of here that I've been wanting to say? I don't think so, but I think I ended up going almost 40 minutes. And maybe this wasn't hilarious, but, you know, hey, we're back. The Matt Signal's happening. And I will try to get a new intro for Death by Cheeseburger so we don't have the same thing going on eventually, but it's not a priority. So anyway, until the next time I drop a Matt Signal episode, I hope that your life doesn't suck. I hope that you'll join us on the page for Death by Cheeseburger on Facebook, where if you like the page, you will be entered into a drawing to win a $100 gift card that you can use wherever the fuck you want. Let's see. Ben Terhune is out doing comedy Monday nights at Bear's Place, 8 p.m. It is free. There's a lot of pretty cool up-and-coming comedians that go there. I've met a handful of them. They were nice, and I liked them. So go check them out. Buy some food, have beer, tip the wait staff, laugh at jokes, and boy, man, you can catch me at work. I'll be doing that. So, I guess in the meantime and in between time, as I get out of here, I'm kind of messing up my outro here because I was trying to think if there was anything else I needed to drop it the last time. So here's how I do it, right? I'm going to get out of here. So in the meantime and in between time, go fuck yourself.